evening. It's 6 o'clock on Wednesday, the 6th of September 2017. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, bringing you the day's national top stories translated into English 6 days a week. The 9th legislature of the Albanian Parliament will commence on Saturday. After the President's decree on August 29 for the gathering of the Parliament, the Secretary of Parliament announced that the first plenary session will be held on Saturday at 10 a.m. Directly after the meeting, the Parliament will set up the Council for the Verification of Mandates, which is made up of 9 MPs who will review the documents of each Member of Parliament. The MPs are proposed by the parliamentary groups and elected by 71 votes. The Council for the Verification of Mandates must submit a report to Parliament on the validity of MPs. It is learned that this Council will draft the report over the course of this Saturday to allow the Parliament to gather again at 6 p.m, when the new Members of Parliament will be sworn in. The new Assembly Speaker will also be elected in the afternoon's plenary session. At this stage, only Rucci has been proposed for the role. The election of the Speaker must be made in consensus. The plenary session should be led by the eldest Member of Parliament, currently Sali Berisha. However, should he refuse to lead the session, the eldest after Berisha is Tritan Shehu. The Speaker of the session will select the 3 youngest members as secretaries until the Bureau of Parliament is established. Prime Minister Edi Rama held the second informal meeting with the new ministers. The meeting is occurring in Velipoj over 2 days, beginning this morning and continuing tomorrow. The meeting is being held 3 days before the first plenary session of the new parliamentary legislature, which is set to be held on September 9, where the new members of parliament and members of government will be sworn in. Beginning at 11:30 a.m. this morning, the new government is discussing the main priorities of action over the coming 4 years. The chairman of the Socialist Party's parliamentary group, as well as Rucci, who is appointed to be the new Assembly Speaker, were spotted attending the meeting. The relation between government and Parliament is learned to have been in focus for the meeting. The meeting will also concretise the project for merging of some ministries and institutions. The meeting continues tomorrow without media presence. It is learned that the ministers have reported about their working strategy and the deadlines for the realisation of any concrete project. In the first informal meeting of the government on August 28, the Prime Minister declared 2017 as the year of Skanderberg, as it coincides with the 550th anniversary of the death of our national hero. The chairman of the Democratic Party has just returned from Copenhagen, where he participated at a political assembly of the European Popular Parties. Upon his return, Mr. Basha held a 1-hour meeting with the chairman of the Republican Party, Fatmir Mediu, with whom he discussed the priorities of the opposition in the new parliamentary legislature. After the meeting, the chairman of the Republican Party had this to say: "We held a meeting after the holidays. We discussed the commitment of the opposition MPs in Parliament and the coordination of opposition forces for the opposition's action. We also discussed the expectancies and developments relating to electoral and constitutional reform, for which a commitment by the opposition's experts is needed before we discuss the relation with the government. Electoral reform is required as the process is currently influenced by money coming from crime, and a solution to this issue is necessary. Regarding constitutional reform, I think that Albania should be oriented towards the rule of law and that the focus must be on the citizens. Also, a restriction of the government's authority and the division of power is needed." Commenting on the new government of Prime Minister Edi Rama, the chairman of the Republican Party thinks that it does not bring anything but a return to corrupted schemes. "The government is an old story with new bargains," added Mediu, adding that the opposition has no outlook to block the new plenary session. However, Aura News has learned that a protest regarding the election of Rucci as Assembly Speaker and Fatmir Jafai as the Minister of Interior is likely to occur. The protest is being held by those who have previously been politically persecuted, the Democratic Party's Youth Forum and some Democrat MPs. The newly elected Vice Chairman of the Academy of Sciences gave his irrevocable resignation today. In a letter sent to the Academy of Sciences, the Vice Chairman of the Academy stated that his resignation is due to personal reasons. An Aura News journalist contacted the Vice Chairman, who stated that his decision is related to the current situation of the Academy of Sciences. Elections were held just a few days ago at the Academy, at a time when the Prime Minister asked for the reformation of the Academy and stated the elections to be a farce. The Vice Chairman did not comment further, but he added that he had his own vision for the future of the Academy, and for this reason he considers his resignation to be for personal reasons. Prior to the recent election as Vice Chairman, he was in fact the Chairman of the Academy of Sciences for a period of 4 years. The 81-year-old academic has a 45-year experience and has given valuable contribution in the field of history and at the Academy of Sciences. He is an archaeologist in the prehistoric field and an author of several historical books. Given the resignation of the Academy of Sciences must now hold another election for the position of Vice Chairman. On the third day of the National Council of Integration, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Bushati, said that 2018 will be a decisive year for Albania's process of integration. The Minister said that Albania must do the maximum to advance the process of membership with the European Union and open the negotiation by spring of 2018. According to Mr. Bushati, the EU's attention for enlargement in 2019 will be lower because the European Union will reformat its institutions during that year. As we are ahead of the new parliamentary session, I hope that the government and the opposition show a higher and more structured political cooperation than in the past. I hope that the political stakeholders have learned their lessons. 2018 is a decisive year as the EU will discuss the enlargement package by spring of 2018. We hope that there is a positive decision for the opening of negotiations. This period will be decisive for us, as in 2019, the EU will renovate its institutions. Usually, when there is a renovation of institutions and mandates, the focus moves away from the enlargement process, declared Mr. Bushati. The Chief of Diplomacy said that integration into the European Union is the only path for an Albania and that there is no plan B. The Minister of Foreign Affairs went on to add that the European Union moves, not at a pace that we want, but it moves. When there is a will for reform, when there is a will for transformation, it is difficult to say that the EU has not responded. It is clear that the ball is not in our field, and it is necessary that we further strengthen the national consensus and political dialogue in order for the European integration to be not just rhetoric, but what we want it to be, our only national project. Public kindergartens are receiving a huge number of registration requests. 8,000 requests have been presented so far, at a time when the capacity of these institutions is 3,000. The director of Tirana's Directory of Education calls on parents to register their children in kindergartens near the area they live. Meanwhile, the City Hall continues with its work to add more spaces to kindergartens. The City Hall is reconstructing kindergartens, and the opening of new kindergartens will solve the situation. Parents must have a list of documents to register their children in kindergartens, such as proof of residence, a personal certificate of the child with a photograph less than 3 months old, as well as a document from the family doctor stating that the child is in a very healthy condition with all the necessary vaccinations. The transformation of Tirana and the innovative practices of Tirana's municipality are increasingly echoing in the foreign press and international forums. Recently, Tirana joined and chaired the Tel Aviv City Summit, along with cities such as Frankfurt and Warsaw. Tirana's mayor, Arion Veliai, was selected by the City Summit that was held yesterday in Tel Aviv to discuss some of the recent projects implemented by Tirana. Projects such as SMS paid parking, the My Tirana cellular app, the reconstruction of playgrounds, kindergartens and schools, as well as urban projects like the new bazaar or housing policies with soft loans, were all hot topics for the summit. During his visit to Israel, Mayor Veliai was received by the historic mayor of the Tel Aviv City Council, Ron Huldai, with whom he will have the cooperation in the field of tourism and innovation. Later, the mayor of Tirana was received in the municipality of Jerusalem by his counterpart, Nir Barkat, with whom Tirana is expected to cooperate on education and innovation incubators. Mayor Barkat expressed his satisfaction in the meeting with Mr. Veliai and praised the possibility of cooperation between the two cities in the field of education and innovation. That's all for our English edition this evening. My name is Alexandra. Please join me again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. On behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.